In February 1957, someone dumped a cardboard box along a quiet road in Philadelphia. Inside that box was a child. No name. No missing persons report. No family was looking for him. For 65 years, investigators had only one question. Who was this boy? And more disturbingly, why did no one seem to know he existed? But in 2022, a tiny strand of DNA finally revealed his identity. And the answer raised even darker questions. This is the Darkroom Archives, where we open the files that were never meant to stay buried. On February 25, 1957, a young college student was driving along a quiet road near the Fox Chase neighborhood. The area was mostly woodland, the kind of place where people dump trash, and apparently far worse things. The student noticed something strange in the brush. A cardboard box. The box looked like it once held a baby bassinet. Curious, he walked closer. Inside the box was the body of a small boy. Investigators would later estimate the child was around 4 to 6 years old. He was wrapped in a blanket. No identification. No clues. Just a child abandoned in a cardboard box. Which, if we're being honest, is already a terrible start to a mystery. Police quickly realized something was very wrong. The boy had blonde hair, blue eyes, signs of long-term abuse, evidence of malnutrition. His hair had also been recently cut short, almost like someone tried to change his appearance. That raised an unsettling possibility. Someone had tried to hide who he was. The case exploded across the country. Police printed hundreds of thousands of flyers showing the boy's face. Posters appeared everywhere in Philadelphia. Grocery stores, post offices, street corners. The message was simple. Do you know this child? Surely someone would recognize him. A neighbor, a teacher, a relative. But the calls never came, which left investigators with a chilling thought. It was almost as if the boy had never existed at all. The unidentified child quickly became known as the boy in the box, and the case became one of the most famous unsolved crimes in American history. Investigators chased every possible lead. They checked orphanages. They investigated adoption agencies. They searched missing persons reports. Nothing matched. One woman later claimed her abusive mother had purchased the boy illegally and eventually killed him. The story sounded horrifying, but detectives could never confirm it. Over the years, the case slowly faded into legend. New detectives inherited the file. New theories appeared. But the identity of the boy remained unknown, which meant something deeply unsettling. A child had lived, suffered, and died, and no one knew who he was. For decades, the case sat in police archives, a cold case file gathering dust. And if you've ever seen a real cold case file, you know they're not very cinematic. Just paperwork, photos, notes from investigators who may not even be alive anymore. But sometimes a case waits quietly for the right technology to arrive. And in the 2010s, that technology finally appeared. It was called genetic genealogy. The same investigative method that helped identify Joseph James DeAngelo, better known as the Golden State Killer. And it was about to reopen one of the oldest mysteries in America. In 2019, investigators made a bold decision. They exhumed the boy's body. Not because they suspected new evidence, but because modern DNA science has advanced dramatically. Forensic scientists extracted a DNA sample. That DNA was then uploaded to genealogy databases. Instead of searching for a suspect, researchers searched for relatives, even distant ones, second cousins, third cousins, fourth cousins. Piece by piece, genealogists began reconstructing an enormous family tree. The process took years. But eventually, the branches of that tree led to a single family in Philadelphia. And finally, after 65 years, the boy had a name. In December 2022, authorities made a historic announcement. The child once known only as the boy in the box was actually Joseph Augustus Zarelli, born in 1953, right there in Philadelphia. For the first time in more than 6 decades, the child had an identity. But the revelation created a new mystery. Joseph had relatives, a family tree, a history, which meant someone had known he existed. Someone had known his name. and someone had chosen to let the world believe he never existed. Today, investigators believe Joseph likely died inside a home, possibly at the hands of someone who knew him. But despite identifying the victim, police still haven't identified the killer. The file is still open. The mystery is still unsolved. For 65 years, the world knew him only as a photograph on a poster. A nameless child abandoned in a cardboard box. Today we know his name. Joseph Augustus Zarelli. But the question investigators asked in 1957 still remains unanswered. Who took his life, and why?